Alexander Sani Bean was born in East Lothian during the 1500s. His father was a ditch digger and hedge trimmer, and Bean tried to take up the family trade but quickly realized that he had little taste for honest labor. It was here he fell in with a woman as disinclined to honest living as he was, Black Agnes Douglas. They had settled in Ballantrae until Black Agnes was denounced as a witch, whereupon the couple left the town and took up inhabitance in a remote cave on the coast north of Ballantrae, between Girvan and Ballantrae, where they lived undiscovered for some 25 years. The cave was 200 yards deep, and during high tide the entrance was blocked by water. The couple eventually produced 8 sons, 6 daughters, 18 grandsons, and 14 granddaughters. Various grandchildren were products of incest. Lacking the inclination for regular labor, the clan thrived by laying careful ambushes at night to rob and murder individuals or small groups. The bodies were brought back to the cave, where they were dismembered and eaten. Leftovers were pickled, and discarded body parts would sometimes wash up on nearby beaches. Sani and his clan prospered in this new life, killing hundreds of passers-by over the following 2 decades. The body parts and disappearances did not go unnoticed by the local villagers, but the Beans stayed in the caves by day and took their victims at night. The clan was so secretive that the villagers were unaware of the murderers living nearby. As more significant notice of the disappearances was taken, several organized searches were launched to find the culprits. One search took note of the Telltale Cave, but the men refused to believe anything human could live in it. Frustrated and in a frenetic quest for justice, the townspeople lynched several innocents, and the disappearances continued. Suspicion often fell on local innkeepers, since they were the last known to see many of the missing people alive. One fateful night, the Beans ambushed a married couple riding from a fair on one horse, but the man was skilled in combat, deftly holding off the clan with sword and pistol. The clan fatally mauled the wife when she fell to the ground in the conflict. Before they could take the resilient husband, a large group of fairgoers appeared on the trail and the Beans fled. With the Beans' existence finally revealed, it was not long before King James VI of Scotland heard of the atrocities and decided to lead a manhunt with a team of 400 men and several bloodhounds. They soon found the Beans' previously overlooked cave in Benane Head. The monarch and his guards edged into the cave, and, as they descended further into it, lit torches. The light showed a horrific sight before them. Along the damp walls of the cave, human limbs and cuts of bodies, male and female, were hung in rows like carcasses of meat in a butcher's cold room. Elsewhere they found bundles of clothing and piles of valuables, including watches, rings and jewelry. In an adjoining cavern there was a heap of bones collected over some 25 years. The clan was captured alive and taken in chains to the Tolbooth jail in Edinburgh, then transferred to Glasgow, where they were promptly executed without trial. All were executed the following day, in accordance with the conventions and procedures of the age. The men had their genitalia cut off, then dismembered, just as they had dismembered their victims. Their arms and legs were cut off while they were still alive and conscious, and they were left to bleed to death, watched by their women. And then the women were burned like witches in great fires. At not time did any one of them express remorse or repentance. But, on the other hand, it must be remembered that the children and grandchildren of Sani Bean and his wife had been brought up to accept the cave-dwelling cannibalistic life as normal. They had known no other life, and in a very real sense they had been well and truly brainwashed, in modern terminology. They were isolated from society, and their moral and ethical standards were those of Sani Bean himself. He was the father figure and mentor in a small tightly integrated community. They were trained to regard murder and cannibalism as right and normal, and they saw no wrong in it.